Hey guys, I bought some stuff for Chinese New Year for my workplace. Actually, I didn't buy it for myself or for my home. I went to Walmart to check out what they had. They had a couple of things. I don't know why they had like a lot of instant noodles. Like that was the only strange thing I thought. But there was like hot sauce too, Chinese hot sauce. I was like, why is that promoted as Chinese New Year things? Anyways, they had a box that was kind of the size too, but it was like mooncakes and different desserts, different Chinese desserts, and I was so tempted to get that for my workplace, but I don't know if everyone will like it because especially if you're not Chinese and you haven't had like red bean paste or anything, you might think it's weird, and I don't know if people will like it or hate it because it's one of those things where like some people like it and other people just don't like it, and if you grew up with it, you chances are you probably like it, but if you haven't grown up with it, you probably aren't used to it, and the texture of red bean paste and everything, and the fact that they're beans. Like I've seen a lot of YouTube channels where they're like, where people try red beans for the first time and they're like, oh, the first thing I think of is like savory beans, so when I eat it, it's weird. But I I've grown up with red beans, so I kind of like red beans and like different desserts and pastries, but I don't know how people at work would react to it because we're not all Chinese, to be honest. So I wouldn't know. So I thought the safest thing was to get cookies, and this is quite a big box. Yesterday I opened it to have one and give one to a coworker. It's actually pretty good. It's there's like 4 individual little wraps, but they're not little, they're pretty big. They're like 4 little trays in there of these. And this one is an egg cookie roll. A lot of the Chinese pastries or cookies, if you don't know, they actually use a lot of egg, so it's very eggy, and that makes it a little more dense compared to like Western types of cookies. So it makes it more flaky, and it just has a nice taste to it. I don't like, yeah, so I'm just gonna put a sign on here and I'm gonna be like, oh, take one and yeah, take some, yeah, because that's what one of my coworkers did. She bought like cupcakes and then she wrote a sign saying, oh, can you please take one? And then she wrote her name on it. And so yeah, this one was $2.99, so it was way cheaper than the mooncake stuff. I already bought a lot of chocolates, but I'm not going to show the chocolates in this video because this video is strictly Chinese New Year stuff. And then my next video is actually good. And then actually right after this, I'm going to go film about the chocolates that I bought for Valentine's Day for my work. So yeah, I bought like, I really just, this month, I didn't know I would be spoiling people this month, but apparently I am. So the next thing I bought is not from Walmart, it's from Starbucks, and I strictly bought it for one of my coworkers because he actually can't really eat sweets. I broke the bag, so there's a hole in the bag, so I'm not using that bag anymore. Why is there a hole? Oh man, it's because I put too much stuff in the bag. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this on the table, and ta-da! This is a Komodo Dragon blend that Starbucks had. I didn't know they had this. It's dark roast coffee, and it's 100% Arabica coffee, and it's so like, it was so confusing. So first off, they were like So they said they could ground it for me, but I was like, nah. And then I messaged my friend about it, and he was like, oh, normally ground coffee is easier because if you don't have the grinder, you can't grind the coffee. So the coffee bean. So I was like, okay. And I went back to Starbucks, and I went back, and I was like, I went 3 or 4 times back. So the first time I went back, I was like, oh, can you ground this for me? And then she's like, what? And the worker asked me what type of machine I have, because usually it depends on the type of machine, and if you grind it wrong, then it doesn't work. So I told her, oh, I don't know, I'm buying it for a friend. She said it's best to ask your friend what type of coffee machine they have before grinding it, because if you grind it wrong, it doesn't work in the certain machine. So I was like, okay. And then I went, and so I wasn't going to tell my coworker, but then I just asked him, oh, random question. And I texted him. I was like, do you have a coffee machine at home? And he said he has a Keurig, and those use pods. They don't use the Keurigs use pods. I used to use a Keurig, I think, too, but we stopped using Keurig because we stopped using all the coffee machines that we have. We have so many different types of coffee machines at home, but we just stopped using them in general. Like, usually I use, the instant coffee and stuff like that. So, I don't know. And I had, it's like ground coffee, but it's dark roast too, and you just put the powder. You can basically put, I believe there's still coffee grounds. You put the powder in the cup, and then you just boil water and you pour the water on it. So I was thinking to myself, okay, then he just has a Keurig. So then I went to ask the worker, I went back to ask the worker. I was like, oh, is there a way you can make coffee without a coffee machine? And she didn't know, so she was like, probably can't, so I can refund it for you if you want. But I was like, I still want to give it to my coworker. So what I did at the end of the day, because it was so awkward because I didn't know what to do, I just went back to her and I said, oh, can you grind it for me? I'll just use it for myself. But to be honest, because I know that my coworker can't really have sweets. So I was like, okay, I still have to give him this coffee. But so basically I told her to grind it. She grinded it in a way that you can use it for a paper filter type of coffee machine where you use the paper filter. But however, because my coworker doesn't have that, I actually searched up online instructions on how to make coffee without a coffee machine, and there are instructions where you boil and stuff. I don't know if you can specifically just put coffee grinds into a cup and boil water and pour it in, because I know for a fact that you can do that with instant coffee. And we used to have this coffee at home. I need to check. We have this coffee at home that's it's kind of like instant coffee, but it's literally just, it looks like ground up. It's probably ground up coffee beans. So I think that's what it is, and it's dark roast too, and it smells similar. So I'm gonna go check if that's the same thing, because if it is, then I don't have to give my coworker that long instruction thing on how to do it, but I'll send it to him anyways. And yeah, I spent good money on this. I forgot how much I spent, but yeah, my receipt's in my receipt envelope. I'm too lazy to get it. So yeah, actually this year, I don't know if I said this in the beginning of the video because I completely forgot, but this year is the year of the pigs. So yeah, they didn't have any pig symbol. They only had a dragon and a tiger, and they were different. I don't know why they had different stuff like that. But anyways, I thought the dragon would be nice. And the coffee, like, once you ask them to grind it, they literally open it up and you can smell the coffee. Like, I literally smell it right now. It's like super strong. So my bag's gonna smell like coffee when I bring it. So yeah, so Happy New Year. How do you say it in Chinese? 新年快乐. Sorry, my Mandarin pronunciation is probably really horrible due to the fact that I don't normally speak Mandarin, but I understand partially. Like I understand. I've talked about this in the channel, on my channel, I think. I only understand a little bit, and I only know, like, how to say a little bit. My pronunciation is probably really bad, but, I understand enough that you could probably survive if you went to China, but talking about other things, probably not. So, yeah. So, definitely, I was raised in, like, English speaking, like mostly English speaking household, so that's what we do. So yeah, so that's it for this video. Happy New Year, and hope you guys have a good New Year. Actually, it's Happy Chinese New Year. So yeah, because Chinese New Year is actually a few weeks after, like a month or so after the New Year is actually, like a few weeks after the New Year. So like, I don't know, was it a month or so? I don't know, but yeah. Okay, so that's it for this video. Bye.